welcome back to the best division in football with your boys Authentic and The Beard. The best television show not on TV. It's rival week, y'all. This is what we've been waiting for all season long. When we saw this game on the schedule, we knew this was going to be an important game for both teams. I'm going to still call him the best co-host in the country because that's my guy one time. I'm going to bring in the best co-host in the country, the strong side to my left side. I hope the Giants Nation is in the building one time because we're going to need y'all representing today. But y'all know what it is one time. Let's bring the Beard in here one time and let's get to it, man. What's poppin', brother? How you living?
The champ is here.
Oh, the champ just started the show for you, bro. No
champ
problem.
Is
Easy
here.
business.
You know, we're even though we tied, we're the champions right now. We're the champions.
I like the confidence. Kind of sounds a little bit like arrogance right now, but
no! You're the one
good.
who guaranteed a Giants win already.
Oh, I'm on my Joe Namath vibes today, bro. You know what it is, man. We let y'all sneak away with a fake victory because for y'all that was a victory. For us, that was 100% an L. You can ask anybody in Giants Nation. No one's looking at that tie as we want anything out of that game. Now, I did say before that game, the only thing y'all were going to be headed back down to Washington, D.C. with as far as a W was that logo. I was kind of right on that. But
I'll give you that. You were right about that.
I will say this. The way y'all kind of taking that game, I think y'all thought that was a victory for y'all because y'all literally snuck out of that game.
And we did, but you know what? We snuck out of that game into a bye week, and then in that bye week, we snuck into week 15 in the number 6 spot in the playoff picture. So, you know, hey, sometimes you gotta sneak around a little bit before you get down and dirty, if you know what I'm saying.
You sound like that sneaking around is the getting down and getting dirty. But we got a couple of games here, man, to go over, man. We got the Philadelphia Eagles are headed to Chicago to take on the Bears. The Dallas Cowboys are going to be headed down to Jacksonville one time to take on those Jaguars. The Giants and the Commanders, y'all already know, FedEx Field, Green Lot E. We're going to be right there, front and center, man, checking that game out. It's going to be a 1 for the record books. I'm trying to see my team get to the playoffs. We've talked about this. Some Giants fans feel a little bit different. Some Giants fans don't want us to make the playoffs. I would love the experience of getting into the playoffs and a shot at trying to get a Super Bowl trophy. I know that's not likely for the New York Giants, but hey, once you get in, as my homegirl Monique said last episode, everybody is 0-0. And who, depending on who gets hot, that's really who's going to take that trophy home. We also got the 49ers taking on the Seahawks tonight for a Thursday night football matchup. So we got a jam-packed show, man. We got a real jam-packed show, man. I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to try to fly through this, get y'all out of here by about a good 8:14 so you could, get everything right. Maybe get your chips and dip right for this Thursday night football game. A lot of playoff stakes on the line here, man. The 49ers taking on the Seahawks. We already know Seahawks lost last week, man. That helped us out when the Carolina Panthers beat them. So I know a lot of people going to be keeping their eyes on this game. But we'll see how it goes, man. How you feeling though, Beard? Are you feeling confident as you felt during that intro, or have you came back down to earth a little bit getting ready for this show?
I'm good. I feel really confident. I feel really good. You know, Carson Wentz is suiting up as the number 2, so I feel a little bit more at ease going into this game. You know, and we're going to talk about some injuries, so there might be some guys back on the field this week for Washington.
You said you're feeling more confident about this game because Carson Wentz is suiting up as the backup quarterback.
I had to throw a little
we were talking about one
of the
spaces the other day, and I really didn't answer it, but somebody was extremely upset that Rob said that Carson Wentz is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. it was on fire.
I could only imagine that ruffling a few feathers. But this is it's interesting because Authentic and I talked about how the last matchup didn't really have that sort of atmosphere, right? It didn't have that feel. Like this one, it feels more like, a playoff game. It's going to be, under the lights. And Authentic and I were texting earlier today, and he was asking me about, where we're going to go with the direction of the title for tonight's stream.
Yeah.
I said, man, you know what? I got this like boxing vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like I had this boxing vibe. And so I was sitting there at my packing station, packing orders, and I said, yep, that's it. It's the flex at FedEx. It's not the Thrilla in Manila, but it's the flex at FedEx. You know what I'm saying?
Think about that when you really gave me that title. I was like, I'll go with it. That sounds like what it is.
That's where I was going with it. So, yeah, this is definitely going to be a heavyweight battle of middleweights. in the NFC East.
I like that.
But I'm super excited, and we definitely want to show some love. Big thank you to everybody who's watching us right now. We see everybody in the chat. We're going to start running through this show because, like Authentic said, it's jam-packed. So shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate everybody being here, everybody who's watching us on Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. And if you're here on YouTube, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. Let everybody know Authentic in the Beard is previewing the greatest fight of the NFC East right now. And listen, we got to give a big shout out.
I like you said that. I like you said that. I like that you said that. It's the week to say that.
It is the week to say that. I gotta give a big shout out to my guy Pinjo Thrift for the $5 super chat. So yesterday during my Whatnot stream, he was like, I need to hear you say, let's go Big Blue. And I was like, nah, you're not gonna get me to hear me to say that unless you give a super chat, and then I'm gonna be forced to say it. So big shout out to Pinjo Thrift for the $5 super chat. Says, yo, Tim, I need to hear it. Let's go Big Blue.
That's what I like to see, man. Giants Nation is in the building. Y'all know what it is, man. We got to clip that up right there when you just say, let's go Big Blue, and just maybe put it on the soundboard, man. I think that's a fantastic idea, man. Shout out to the sound department one time at Authentic in the Beard, man.
Oh, man,
all right,
yes.
So you ready for this, man?
I am, and big shout out to Yam in Japan. Carson Wentz does still have more passing yards than Taylor Heineke right now.
Oh, not too bad. What about the wins?
We'll save that for another day.
We'll save that for another day. All right, let's get into this first matchup, man, so we can hurry up and get to the meat and potatoes of today's show, and we can start talking about them Giants at Commanders one time. But we're going to start the show off today by talking about the Eagles headed to Chicago to take on the Bears. All right, y'all. So the Eagles sitting at 12-1 right now, man. They are on fire. Headed to Chicago to take on the 3-10 Bears. When I saw that record, man, it kind of surprised me, man. Justin Fields been playing some decent football. You would think they would have some more wins than what they have right there. This one is Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fox. Last week, the Eagles beat the brakes off my New York Giants, 48-22. The Bears are coming off a bye. Last meeting between these two teams, the Eagles beat the Bears 22-14 on November 3rd, 2019. That game was in Philadelphia. Now, the Eagles became the first team this season to clinch a playoff berth last week, securing the 5th postseason trip in 6 years with last week's win. The Eagles also lead the league right now in turnover differential and have an NFL low 10 giveaways right now. When I was going through some of these numbers that I was tallying up for these notes, I was like, man, it must be real nice right now to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Philadelphia is also averaging an NFL best 29.7 points right now. The Eagles have scored 35 or more points in 3 straight games. Eagles also have won the past 2 games by a combined 51 points. They beat the Tennessee Titans 35-10. And going into the Giants game, I was telling people, like, yo, they just blew out the Tennessee Titans. They're like, oh, they haven't blown out people that much this year. Should be a close game. I was like, yeah, whatever, cuz. It was 48-22 against the New York Giants. At a home game for the New York Giants as well. Philadelphia also leads the NFL right now with 49 sacks. They have 13 sacks over the past 2 games. They had 7 sacks against my New York Giants last week. But I think this matchup's going to be a battle of 2 franchise quarterbacks. One of them is a little bit more ahead in the race right now. I'll start with the one who's behind in the race. Justin Fields, man, he's been playing some good football. He's coming off a solid week before the bye against the Green Bay Packers. He was 20-25 for 254 yards. And he was not sacked for the first time this entire season, man. So that goes to show you that kid's been under duress the whole entire year. He also scored a 55-yard touchdown run in that game versus the Green Bay Packers. Justin Fields has 3 touchdown runs of over 50 yards or more. It's the most by a quarterback in a single season ever in NFL history. And I'm hoping that maybe, just maybe, Chase Claypool can help him out, who hasn't really been a splash as far as the wide receiver position goes after being acquired from the Pittsburgh Steelers. But Chase Claypool had his best game against the Philadelphia Eagles when he was a Pittsburgh Steeler back in 2020. He had 4 touchdowns in that game, 3 receiving, 1 rushing touchdown. So I'm looking for Claypool to help out Justin Fields and maybe keep this game kind of close. I don't think it's going to matter either way. The Eagles pretty much got this thing wrapped up as far as the NFC East goes. I know the Dallas Cowboys are looking for a couple losses down the stretch here too, leading up to that game on Christmas Eve. That's going to be probably the second biggest NFC East matchup coming up. This one with the Giants and the Commanders definitely going to be the best one, though. Now, let's talk about Jalen Hurts a little bit, man. He's just 24 years old, the second youngest quarterback to start 12-1 The only other quarterback to do that was Dan Marino. Hurts is 17-2. Not enough people talking about this one right here. Jalen Hurts is 17-2 in his last 19 games. So, yeah, he's 12-1 this year, but dating back to last year, this kid is on fire right now. He's the first quarterback in NFL history with at least 10 rushing touchdowns in back-to-back seasons. Mike Vick never did that. So Jalen Hurts, man, you know I like to call him a red zone maniac over here on Authentic in the Beard, man. He's definitely doing damage when it comes to scoring touchdowns with his legs. He's also got the highest touchdown to interception ratio in the entire league. He's got 22 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 10 rushing touchdowns, which is first in the NFL right now. His yards per attempt at 8.1 is second in the NFL. And this one, I think, is probably the biggest shocker for most fans, especially across the NFC East. 68% completion percentage, which is fourth in the NFL right now. And my whole thing is, you know, over here at Authentic in the Beard, me and the Beard definitely give Jalen Hurts a lot of flowers. We've been giving him flowers dating back to, you know, his rookie season. As soon as we saw him get on the field, this kid has been doing damage. And a lot of people just, you know, kind of ignored it. And I know fandom can get in the way of that, especially when you're from New York. I know that can definitely get in the way of this rivalry that we have with the Philadelphia Eagles, and it can kind of blur our perceptions on Jalen Hurts. But if Jalen Hurts is really as bad as people were saying he is, or if they're saying that his weapons are really as good as his weapons really are, then why is A.J. Brown having a career year right now? A.J. Brown in 2022, in 13 games, he has 1,020 yards on 65 receptions, 10 touchdowns. That's one away from tying a career high. His career high was 11 in 2020 with the Tennessee Titans. He's 55 yards away from breaching his career high in receiving yards, which happened in 2020 as well. He had 1,075 yards. He's also the first Eagles wide receiver to reach 1,000 yards since. You want to do a little trivia right here? You think you know who the last Eagles 1,000-yard receiver was?
The last Eagles 1,000-yard receiver? Oof. Mark
Tough,
Wahlberg.
Right? Mark Wahlberg in The Invincible. It's actually Jeremy Maclin in 2014. He's the last wide receiver.
I forgot about Jeremy Maclin.
Had a couple of years there. Zach Ertz did it in 2018 as a tight end. But as far as wide receivers go, this is the first Eagles wide receiver to breach 1,000 yards since 2014. So big shout out to A.J. Brown, man. He's doing damage. He got a GM fired in Tennessee. He's doing a lot over here. So, you know, I saw Micah Parsons on a podcast. I can't remember who it was with just this past week. And he was like asking the host, like, you know, is it really Jalen Hurts or is it really the weapons? And he kind of seemed like he was leaning towards it's the weapons a little bit more because he's gone up against Jalen Hurts already. And I think it's a bit of both, but Jalen Hurts, there's a reason why this kid is a front runner right now for the MVP. I think he's going to be the difference in this game. But what you thinking about this matchup right now between the Eagles and the Bears?
Listen, I mean, Jalen Hurts is the MVP. I'm going to remind everybody every chance I get a chance to. He is the MVP right now in the National Football League. So there's a reason why they're 12-1, and when you have an MVP playing quarterback, then that's why you're 12-1. So, you know, they have such a well-rounded team. Now, the Chicago Bears can be sneaky. Now, we all know the Chicago Bears can struggle to pass the ball, and they are not going to be able to pass the ball, I'm assuming, in this game at all either. The Philadelphia Eagles are the number one team in the National Football League in passing yards allowed per game. They're only allowing 100. Yeah, they're only allowing 178.7 yards passing per game. So this is going to have to be, you know, Justin Fields. He's going to have to run on them. I think that, you know, if they can get creative, which we've seen the play calling get better since that disastrous game against Washington for the Chicago Bears.
Oh, yeah.
So they're going to have to find a way because, I mean, even Philadelphia's run defense, they're not bad. They're 18th for the National Football League against the run. They're allowing 118.3 yards per game. So think about how good that pass defense is. There's only a 60-yard, give or take, discrepancy between the yards that they allow rushing and the yards that they allow passing. So it's like you're going to have to find a way to figure that out. And Chicago's run defense, I mean, that's going to be an issue. They're giving up 146.3 yards per game on the ground. So, you know, I'm thinking this is probably going to be an interesting prop bet would be who's going to have more rushing yards in this game, Jalen Hurts or Justin Fields. Justin Fields is 8th in the National Football League in rushing yards right now.
It's crazy. At quarterback, it's ridiculous.
At quarterback, 905 yards on the ground. He's gonna get over 1,000 yards rushing. That's probably going to be more rushing yards than 60% of the team's top running backs in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's got a lot of attempts too. I was doing some digging into Saquon Barkley's attempts by quarter and by half, and the name that you always see up there is Justin Fields, and I'm just like, how's this kid getting so many attempts? But I do think that this matchup is going to present a couple problems for him because you remember we talked about this with the Philadelphia Eagles when they went up against the Giants last week, and the reason why the pressure on Daniel Jones was so just so strong a pressure is because they're a speed rush type of defense. They got the big boys in the center, but then you got guys like Riddick on the outside that can, they speed rush these quarterbacks and they present a problem. And I think that might be the same thing with Justin Fields in this game. If he was going up against a defensive line a little bit more known for power, I think it would present a better matchup for Justin Fields. But I think he's going to struggle in this one, and I'm ready to give a score for this one. I'm praying to God that the Chicago Bears can somehow find a way to upset the Philadelphia Eagles here. I saw Lord Brunson talking about this on Twitter, saying that this does look like it could be a trap game for the Philadelphia Eagles, but I still think the Eagles are going to handle business in this one. I think the Eagles are probably going to win this game by at least 10 points. I'm going to go something like 34-21 Philadelphia.
I'm going to go Philadelphia 27-13.
All right, so we're definitely in agreement there, man. I'm glad we could kind of fly through that when I see Stephen Arts already complaining in the chat about when we get into the Giants game and whatnot. Just understand, bro, you don't dictate how we move over here, brother. I appreciate you being in the building, but you know what it is, man. But let's move on to this next one, man. We'll talk about these Dallas Cowboys real quick. Going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then we'll get into the Giants-Commanders game. Don't forget, y'all, we're also doing a giveaway today, and we'll have a little trivia segment coming in after the Giants game, so stick tight for that. We got a Giants trivia question that I think might stump a lot of y'all out there, especially some of you youngins out there. This should be a really good one, but let's get to this Cowboys-Jaguars matchup. All right, man, the 10-3 Dallas Cowboys, that's a bit of a surprise, too, when I read off that record, man. They're taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars at 5-8, man, still trying to keep some slim playoff hopes alive here. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This one's on Fox as well. Last week, the Cowboys just snuck out of that game versus the Houston Texans, 27-23 on a game-winning drive. I will capitalize when I say that game-winning drive. If you didn't tune in the last show that we just did, there's a lot about game-winning drives going on in there, dropping gems, dropping facts for y'all. The Jaguars beat the Tennessee Titans. Kind of an upset there, man, 36-22. The last meeting between these two teams, the Cowboys beat the Jaguars 40-7. That was in 2018, though, a long time ago. I told the Beard last week how the close game versus the Texans will make the Cowboys more playoff ready, and I definitely think that. Now you got another kind of a tune-up game, I'll call it, for the Dallas Cowboys to see how prepared you are. Because the Jacksonville Jaguars are 5-8 for a reason. I see you over here doing all that, but they 5-8 for a reason. They are a couple games under 500. So I think this will be a great test to kind of ramp it up before you get into the playoffs. They still got to see the Washington Commanders the last week of the season, the Philadelphia Eagles here on Christmas Eve. They got a lot of tough games coming up. But the Dallas Cowboys, I'm about to give y'all some flowers here for damn sure. I mean, when I'm looking up some of the nuggets for the Dallas Cowboys, again, it makes me go, it must be great to be a Dallas Cowboys fan in 2022. Dallas has 10 wins in back-to-back seasons for the first time since 1995. A lot of things are starting to lean their way. They can clinch an NFC wildcard spot with a victory in this game versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars need a win to close the gap between them and the Tennessee Titans in that division. The Cowboys are finishing a 3-game stretch against the AFC South. They won the first 2 and are on their second 4-game winning streak of the season. The Cowboys, this one is for Monique. I remember a couple, episodes back when the Beard was saying, the Cowboys, man, they're not that good when December comes around, man. Weather gets cold, they're not that good. Well, since hiring Mike McCarthy over there with the Cowboys, they are 9-1. The 9 wins are tied with Kansas City for the most in the NFL during that stretch. Now, the Jaguars, they're going to need to stop Zeke and stop Tony Pollard. That is going to be number one. Derrick Henry rushed for 96 yards in the first quarter last week versus the Jaguars. They did figure out a way to kind of, the little drain stopper that you put that got the little holes through it for the bathtub. They kind of put one of those and kind of slowed down the running game in the second half there. But 96 yards in the first half, that's not going to get it done. Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott have a combined 1,610 rushing yards on the season and 18 touchdowns. This is why I've been telling the New York Giants, we have to go back to a 2-back running system. It's the only way in today's NFL. And I even think having a guy like Derrick Henry, you should pair him with another running back. He was better when Deontay Foreman was over there, if you ask me. Now, Since the start of last season, and this one is for the beard for sure. This nugget is for the beard for sure. Saw this one running around on Twitter on a little meme. I had to go back and double check. You can't trust them pictures with the stat.
Oh,
you
yeah.
never know what's
Yeah,
going on,
yeah.
right? Since the start of last season, when Ezekiel Elliott gets 15 carries or more, guess the Cowboys' record. It's 17 games. I'll give you that right there.
12-5.
17-0. So I know you've been trying to lean more towards Tony Pollard getting more of the carries. When Zeke gets 15 or more, the Cowboys are undefeated at 17-0.
Really?
Yes, really.
Now,
Zeke
that
Elliott right now has
surprises
at
me.
least one rushing touchdown in a career best 6 consecutive games. There's only one other running back in Dallas Cowboys history that's gotten a 7. I don't think I need to say his name. His name is Emmitt Smith, because the Bears looking at me a little bit puzzled. It's funny because the star on the logo is right underneath your chin. I think that's kind of hilarious right now. But I'm going to continue to give out these flowers to the Dallas Cowboys because we're not biased over here at Authentic and the Beard. That's for damn sure. I've been jumping into some of these spaces during the week, and I see a bunch of biased fans talking about football, and that's not the way to talk about football. You got to be unbiased. Tony Pollard has 12 touchdowns after coming into this season with just 11 in his career. So for me, the Jaguars, their number one thing is you better stop that running game. If you don't stop that running game, the Cowboys are going to blow y'all out in this game. Don't even consider yourself to have any chances. And like I said, losing to the Houston Texans, or almost losing to the Houston Texans last week, is definitely going to benefit them coming into this game. This might be like you was in a fist fight that you were supposed to win, and you caught a couple punches to the face. You got knocked down. You still want to fight, and now you're going to take it out on the next opponent here. Trevor Lawrence, we already know the kid has been on fire these last couple of games. He's thrown for 181 consecutive passes without an interception. It's the longest streak of his career right now. He was also named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week this past week. He had a 4-touchdown performance against the Tennessee Titans. He has 10 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in his last 5 games. So that kid, he's showing you why he was that number one pick, why they spent the capital on him. A lot of people had question marks about Trevor Lawrence, throwing that buzzword around. I know the Beard really hates hearing that word. That he wants the NFL and all the fans to pretty much remove that word from their vocabulary. We're starting to use it the wrong way. We used bust when it was like Brian Boz and, players like Ryan Leaf and stuff like that, when it was like, okay, this guy's a top 5 draft pick and he never did anything. Boz actually ended up doing a couple of things. But Trevor Lawrence definitely got some help last week from an old friend. Tight end Evan Ingram. Shout out to Evan Ingram one time, man. The Giants Nation is in the building. He had 11 receptions for a career high, 162 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. The Jaguars are the only team in the AFC and one of 2 teams in the entire NFL with 3 players that have 50 or more receptions. And that wide receiver core is not like, people don't look at them like they got some of the best weapons in the NFL. But that wide receiver core has been showing up. A lot of that has to do with the quarterback. And we're talking about guys, I won't call them quite no-namers or Best Buy workers or Target workers or Walmart shelf stockers or whatever y'all want to call these wide receivers in New York. But Zay Jones, he's leading them right now. And I know that's very unexpected, especially with the bag that Christian Kirk got. But Zay Jones is leading them with 68 receptions. Christian Kirk has 67. And Evan Ingram's got 53 receptions on the year, man. We could use those 53 receptions, Evan Ingram. I'll keep it real with you. Now, Dak Prescott's getting a little bit of help coming back in this game. You got left tackle Tyron Smith. Appears to be set for his season debut after tearing a hamstring in training camp. A week ago, Dallas lost their right tackle, Terrence Steele, to a season-ending knee injury. Rookie first-round pick Tyler Smith, who has started all 13 games in Tyron Smith's place, might be moved to left guard is what I'm hearing. Shout out to William Steele. I was checking out some of his content this past week. And Dak Prescott, this stat really surprised me. He's coming off a season high in passing yards last week, 284 passing yards. Really strange. He got 79 of those yards on the last 98-yard drive to win the game against the Houston Texans with the 3 minutes left or whatever it was in that game to beat the hopeless Houston Texans. And the Cowboys are banged up in the secondary. I think injuries could play a part in how to, how this all shapes out for the Dallas Cowboys moving forward when we talk about maybe a bit of a collapse going into the playoffs. You got Trayvon Diggs with the thumb injury. They were kind of like dealing with that one against the Houston Texans last week. He's going to be good to go in this game. You got cornerback Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis. Both are out for the season right now. I thought the Cowboys were going to go out there and spend some capital on cornerback. They went out there and signed wide receiver T.Y. Hilton.
They signed a cornerback today.
Who's the cornerback?
Mullins. He was a first-round pick, I think, by the Arizona Cardinals. He was waived by the Cardinals yesterday, claimed by the Cowboys today. He's only like 25 years old. He was a first-round draft pick, I think, in 2019. He's got like 3 or 4 career interceptions. He's got pretty good numbers. So yeah, they just claimed him. Who
Is
knows
he,
how much?
did they sign him to the practice squad, or is he supposed to dress for this game?
That's what I was not 100% sure, how fast he'll get caught up to speed. Trayvon Mullen, that's what his name is.
Trayvon
Thank you,
Mullen, okay.
84. So yeah, I don't know if he'll be ready for this game or not. But I mean, the way these guys are coming in like Baker Mayfield, you know what I'm saying?
These guys. Name me another guy. Brock Purdy. The way Baker Mayfield and Brock Purdy coming in.
Get him a playbook and some United Airlines Southwest internet cards, and they're good to go. You know what I'm saying?
Make sure you got Wi-Fi on the plane. That's very important.
That's why they got to get the United Airlines card, because they're charging you for that Wi-Fi, man. It's an arm and a leg, and it's not even Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fly. You know what I'm saying? But
hey, getting a little something up there in the air. But what's your thoughts on this one? I think I gave the Cowboys a good bit of flowers right there. I talked about, how we got to still water the flowers. Got some injuries over there. But what's your thoughts on the game?
I mean, listen, we all know how the Dallas Cowboys are in the month of December. Let's just, be honest.
They solid.
About that. I was like,
you said we all know. I don't know, man.
I read that 9-1 today, and I said, man, I can't wait to tell Monique about how bad the Cowboys are in the month of December. Except for they're actually pretty damn good under Mike McCarthy. I thought that was pretty crazy.
You know what's funny about Mike McCarthy, just real quick? I remember when we were going through the coaching hiring process.
Yeah.
You remember who my guy was, right?
Mike McCarthy.
It was Mike McCarthy. And all the Giants Nation looking at me like, bro, no way we should bring in Mike McCarthy. We hired Joe Judge first season. It's like, man, we got our coach. You remember that? Do you remember that talk? We got our coach.
I remember it. I remember it like it was yesterday. But I think the Dallas Cowboys, what scares me the most, if I'm a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, which at times I haven't been known to be, I think I'm scared of the bounce back. So we know what happened the game after the Cowboys lost to the Packers. They came back and mollywopped the Vikings the game after that. You know what I'm saying? And it was like this big statement game. So, like, I'm anticipating the Cowboys to bounce. This game's going to go two ways. The Cowboys are either going to bounce back in that same sort of fashion, or they're going to, they got that knockdown punch from the Texans, and the Jaguars are going to come in here and give them the knockout punch. This game is in Jacksonville too, don't forget. So that, they're away from home. And I'm kind of curious if those injuries in the secondary are going to affect the way that they handle Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Evan Ingram. I mean, you talked about Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is having a fantastic year, 3,202 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. And the way that they balance all that out. And one name we haven't even talked about yet, Travis Etienne. Etienne is kind of been slowed down a little bit as of late. I think a lot of that has to do with coming back from that injury. I think he's been a little bit banged up. So it'll be interesting to see how they hold them as far as on the ground goes. Now, we already know that they're going to have to find a way to stop the run. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 14th in the NFL in yards allowed per game on the ground. Not too bad. But they were really good at the beginning of the year. So it'll be interesting to see how, that will come back in this game or not. They're going to have to if they want to stand a chance. That question about Zeke, and getting the 15 carries, I think it's surprising, but at the same time, it's not, because I've always been a guy that says Dak plays his best football when they're running the ball well.
Oh yeah,
and that's like that with a lot of quarterbacks
outside of Patrick Mahomes. I'm worried about the Jaguars' pass defense. Being ranked towards the bottom of the league, it worries me for both sides. Because for the Cowboys, does that mean they're going to come out and try to be a little bit pass happy? We've seen teams do that. The Philadelphia Eagles did it to the T against the Tennessee Titans. They were like, oh, y'all are bottom of the league as far as pass defense goes. We're not even going to try to run the ball on y'all. We're just going to come out here and put 350 on your head and 3 touchdowns.
But what's really interesting, too, is when I was digging through the numbers, I was expecting, I know the Cowboys defense is good, and but they allow a lot of passing yards. That's kind of a myth at this point right now.
Oh, yeah. That's a myth from last season, too.
The Dallas Cowboys are second in the NFL right now in passing yards allowed, 182.4. So, but does that change with the injuries in the secondary? I don't know. So I want to pick Dallas to win this game because they should win this game, especially in the bounce back mode. But I don't know. Feeling a little frisky. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game by a final score of 27-26.
He a hater, man.
I'm not a hater. Jacksonville's
It's so great
playing
to see
good.
that star on your side, on your half. I think it's amazing. I think the Cowboys should win this game. One of the key things is going to be they got to get pressure on Trevor Lawrence. Micah Parsons, he's gone 2 games now without getting a sack. He hasn't had a 3-game drought this whole entire season. He has 6 2-sack games to account for all 12 this season. He's 3rd in the NFL in sacks. So if he has a good game, I think the Cowboys are going to be able to win this game. You get some pressure on Trevor Lawrence, and you should be all right. The Jaguars, though, they haven't allowed a sack in 6 games this season, which leads the NFL. There's 6 straight games without, or not 6 straight, but they haven't allowed a sack in 6 games. So I think it's going to be tough for this Cowboys front. They are a little bit banged up here, in that secondary. So that's the way to help that secondary, if you ask me, is to get pressure on the quarterback. I think the Cowboys are going to win this, man. My New York Giants beat the Jaguars earlier on in this season, and I think, Trevor Lawrence is playing some really good football, but the Cowboys are probably just a better team. I'm going to take the Cowboys in this one. And I'm going to go 28-19.
Oh, so not even a little bit more closer for my Jacksonville Jaguars?
I told you, man, that let's call it a loss. That loss to the Texans, that mental loss, to the Texans, it's going to have the Cowboys coming out here ready to go, man. You got to look yourself in that mirror and be like, man, we struggling up against a team that only got 1 win on the year. It's time to go out here and make another statement victory, man. And I think the Cowboys are really going to give the Philadelphia Eagles a good run for their money here, man, especially come playoff time. I think that's going to be the matchups that you got to keep your eyes on. And maybe they'll see each other in the 2nd or 3rd round, man, possibly maybe a championship, unless my New York Giants can weasel their way somehow up there. Maybe we get a freakish Daniel Jones type of performance here over the next 5 to 6 games, and we'll see, man. I'm all for it. You already know.
It'll be very interesting. Big shout out to Stephen Lilly checking in from across the pond. I'm actually watching a British TV show right now produced by Drake called Top Boy. It's absolutely fantastic. It's
Top Boy, word. I'll check that out.
It's like a London version of The Wire. It's really, really good.
Nice.
Big shout out to Stephen Lilly for the £5 super chat. Says, "'Cause I love you guys. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals."
Yeah, shout out. Home Alone, one of my girls' favorite. She always like to throw on the Christmas movies during this time of year, like back to back. So, but we did say before this game, we're going to be watching the Little Giants, try to get us a little bit riled up, and take care of these Commanders one time.
See, I don't have a movie like that. Well, I do. It's called Rudy.
Yeah, but that's not really applicable right now.
I mean, Taylor Heineke is Rudy-esque.
Sure. He's a little Rudy-esque.
There we go.
I give you that. Rudy had like 4 plays and it was over for him. They made a movie around a bum. That's what's so crazy.
It was only 1 play.
He only played 1 play the whole time. They made a whole movie about a dude who played 1 play. Never even knew what position he was till they put him on the field. Like, just get in there, man. Rush the quarterback, dog. Get the hell out of here. All right, man. Let's get to what everybody's been waiting for, man. The Giants headed down here to FedEx Field, man, to take on those Commanders. Let's get to it.
Are on the board with 11:16 to go here in the 3rd.
All right, man. We gotta set the landscape right one time, man, so we can set this up right. All right, man. The New York Giants sitting at 7-5-1, taking a trip down 95 to come meet up with Authentic for victory against those Washington Commanders who are sitting at 7-5-1 as well. They got the tiebreaker because they have a divisional win already. The Giants have 0 division wins. It will be absolutely ridiculous if the Giants get into the playoffs with 0 division wins. But the way I see this one going, definitely not going to happen. Last meeting between these 2 teams, the Giants and Commanders, tied 20-20 on December 4th at MetLife, man. I'm feeling some kind of way. Shout out to my man, Rich Homie Quan, one time. Last week, the Giants lost to the Eagles 48-22. The Commanders were on a bye. Washington has won 2 of the past 3. New York is 0-3-1 in NFC games this season. The Commanders are unbeaten in 2 primetime games this season and are 5-2 on primetime games since Ron Rivera took over in 2020. The Giants have 1 win in their past 6 games. They're 1-4-1. They have been outscored by 53 points over that span. Thank you, Philadelphia. And their 26-point margin of defeat against the Philadelphia Eagles was the largest of the season. The Commanders are 5-1-1 since Taylor Heineke took over for the guy who's going to be the backup in this game that the Beard teams be extremely hype about. Carson Wentz got some injuries in this one as well. Xavier McKinney is definitely ruled out in this one. Richie James and Jihad Ward are leaning towards playing. They were both in the concussion protocol during the week. Saquon Barkley was not on the injury report. That's a good thing for all Giants fans. Y'all know what it is. Ben Bredesen is close to return after missing 6 games. Not too sure about him. Adoree Jackson, I'm not too sure about him. Him and Joshua Ezito have both missed 2 games. Hoping to get at least one of them back in this one. And the Giants signed a new wide receiver / kick returner, punt returner, Jaden Mickens. Hopefully he can make a splash in this one with the special teams because our special teams was god-awful last week. Benjamin St-Juste with the ankle injury, he's trending towards playing in this one. And defensive end Chase Young is on the verge of making his season debut. We'll see what's going on with him. Maybe he'll be on a pitch count. And Wes Schweitzer, the center, has cleared concussion protocol for the Washington Commanders. He's expected to get the start at center. The Beard, I'm going to let you go pretty much first on this one. Let me know what you got for this one, man. What you thinking about your Commanders dating back to that last game, the one we let y'all sneak out with a tie, which was a victory for y'all, but was definitely an L in the New York Giants' eyes.
I also just sent a message to the graphics department. I need my Washington Commanders at Giants logo on the screen. Please, graphic department. Thank you.
You know I got you, brother. You know
Appreciate
I got you,
you
man.
guys.
You know I got you, man. I don't know what's going on over there on your end, but let's go get it one time.
There it is. Look at that. It's so beautiful. Listen, a lot of this game is going to be the change that you have to make from the game before. You know, I went back and I really jumped into that game plan and what evolved in that game. And to be perfectly honest, we were definitely lucky that we didn't lose that game.
I thought there was no luck in football, Mr. Beard.
No, I've never said such things. There's always luck is always a 13th man on the field, you know?
The last play is under review.
Yeah, Gil, please. I need to throw the red flag.
Brother. Chicago week. I got receipts.
Well, listen, okay.
Well, listen.
So, I mean, we talked about this is a prime time game, okay? This is the flex at FedEx, all right? Washington, before Ron Rivera came in, was known as one of the absolute worst teams in the NFL when it comes to primetime games. But since Ron Rivera's here, we're 5-2 in prime time. Under the lights, we're 5-2 since Ron Rivera was here. The New York Football Giants, on the other hand, looking a little bit like the Washington Redskins / football team. You guys have lost 11 in a row.
It's not
in
new
the prime
news
time.
in Giants community. It's not new news. We've been talking about that one for a long time. Daniel Jones is 0 for 9 in prime time, and the Giants are 0 for 11. It's been bad. It's been bad.
We're definitely hoping to get St-Juste back. I think that'll be a big a boost to us to have Saint Boost back, especially this time of year. Chase Young, we really are, on edge. We've been waiting. It's kind of like
I like that pun you just dropped. I don't even know if you noticed it. That was a good pun.
I did. But it's been like how you order something, from the guy who brings you something, and he's like, yeah, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And then it's like 30 minutes later, and they're like, oh, no, I'm right around the corner. And then it's like an hour later. That's how it's felt with Chase Young since he's been activated.
Drug dealer time.
Yeah.
Drug dealer time. I'll be there in 15 minutes, dog. I got you.
Yeah, so that's how it's felt with Chase Young, but I think it's been the smart move. It'll be interesting to see if he gets on the field in this game, even if it's for a couple of plays, just to kind of disrupt the New York Giants. That would be very key. But last time, 82 plays. We ran 82 plays, 411 yards, 2 touchdowns. You cannot just be scoring 2 touchdowns. That doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? Taylor Heinicke is going to have to start stepping up, okay? If you want to, play winning football from this point on to the end of the regular season and into the playoffs, God willing, you're going to have to start hitting open receivers, because missing open receivers and walking away with 20-20 ties, it ain't going to be working. Week 16, week 17, week 18 playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So he has to just get a little bit sharper. Also, the whole team in general, we gave up 5 sacks in that game, 7 penalties, 3 for 14 on third downs, 1 of 2 in the red zone. Taylor Heinicke threw the ball 41 damn times.
Yeah,
that is
tough.
way too many times. Way too many times.
I mean, when you run 82 plays, it's like, God damn.
That's when you think about it, you're like, I looked at the 41 times first, and I was like, what the hell? Why he throw the ball 41 times? And then I'm like, how do we run the ball 36 times? And then I look and I'm like, damn, we had 82 plays. You know what I'm saying? So I just think you're going to have to find a way to limit those sort of situations. And then obviously defensively, we got to do a better job stopping Daniel Jones when he's getting his leg action going on. Because Daniel Jones had 71 yards rushing against us in that first matchup.
Sure
so
did.
there's just a lot of things that we tied because we didn't execute when we needed to execute. We did not take, you know how Authentic's always talking about the windows. We were definitely
from the window.
Yeah, I was gonna say Yin Yang Twins, Goody Mob, however you want to say it, but somebody is peeking through the window, and it's not a first down or a touchdown for the Washington Commanders because, like I said, we only scored 2 in that matchup, and we only converted 3 third downs in the entire game. How do you run 82 plays and only convert 3 third downs?
That you're going up against a juggernaut in the New York Giants.
So those are some of the things that struck me.
Let me give you a couple things about Taylor Heinicke before we dig into this roadmap a little bit. I saw some numbers on him that were a little bit interesting. I was digging into some red zone statistics for y'all as well. Washington is 18th right now in red zone efficiency, 53% y'all are converting. Taylor Heinicke, he's not scoring a ton of touchdowns in the red zone, but in 7 starts, he's 21 of 27. 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in the red zone this season. Pretty damn good. Heinicke is throwing for 2+ touchdowns in back-to-back games, which we know. I talk about that with Daniel Jones all the time. I haven't been keeping my eye on that stat for Daniel Jones this year so much. I need to go back and look at that, actually. But he's definitely struggled to have back-to-back games with two or more passing touchdowns. Taylor Heinicke's done that in the past 2 weeks he's been on the field. In the red zone in 2021, he was also pretty efficient. He had 2 detrimental interceptions that cost y'all games. But he was 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in 2021. So as far as the red zone, he's not quite a maniac. I wouldn't quite call him a maniac. No. But he's doing some decent damage there, man. Just 6 incompletions in the red zone this season, 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. It's not too bad. And I think what's going to end up happening here is for you to get Taylor Heinicke off his mark, you just got to get that pressure on him. The Giants have the right defense to do it, I feel like. We got good speed rushers on the edge. And now, you know, we just got Azeez Ojulari back. In that game against y'all, he had, I want to say he had 2 sacks in that game. I think he had 2 sacks in that game. He had the strip sack recovery as well. He had 2 quarterback hits and a pass deflection. And I think Azeez Ojulari is just getting started. So Taylor Heinicke, I think his performance is going to be a lot predicated on how the New York Giants can rush the passer. And the secondary for the New York Giants is going to have to find a way to try to cover on the back end because in that first game, I think we were very fortunate to come out of that game how we did because our offense really was not sustaining drives. Our defense was tired throughout that whole entire game. And, you know, you just saw Taylor Heinicke pretty much giving us opportunity after opportunity and this defense stepping up and getting that pass rush on him. And I really think that was the difference because like, when you look at the yardage in that game, Washington dominated in a lot of the statistics except third down. Third down, both teams were awful on third down in that game. But Washington pretty much, you know, rushed the ball better and threw the ball better in that game.
Which is why it's like it's painful. It's frustrating because, you know, there's so many times this year where we're either controlling the game clock, you know, or when we are converting third downs and we are getting red zones. It's just there's no point, and then that's going to be a emphasis in this roadmap that I'm about ready to drop. The focus of this roadmap is going to be or more.
I like it. Or more. I see where this is going.
Yeah, you get on the freeway. What? No, turn right. Get out of the lane. No. Okay, get in position. Just get out the lane.
Shout out to the graphics department. Shout out to Waze. Just send us an email. I don't know if you guys got our address wrong or whatnot, but we're still waiting on that first check. Thank you. We appreciate it. But listen, I'm in the bag.
About to get the bag.
Welcome.
Hopefully it doesn't look like my Daniel Jones rant last show.
Welcome to the Beards Roadmap to Victory for the Washington Commanders, unofficially presented to you by Waze. All right, listen. I told y'all pre-roadmap about my disgruntled fan attitude towards the amount of points that we are scoring. We cannot come out of this game with 20 points. We cannot come out of this game with 21 points, nor 22, nor 23. I'm going to need you to score 24 or more points in this game to win. Also, you already know there is not a roadmap that does not have a stop. That's 4 big capital letters on a green side on the side of 495 that says RTDB. Last time we only ran the ball 36 times. I'm going to need more than 36. Matter of fact, I'm going to need 40 or more. Not only am I going to need 40 or more, I'm going to need more running plays than passing plays. That is going to be on the roadmap. I want to see more runs than throws by the Washington Commanders in this game. Also, we're going to need more. More touchdowns and field goals. For Christ's sakes, no more of these 2 field goals, 2 touchdowns, 3 field goals, 1 touchdown, 4 field goals, no touchdowns. I need more touchdowns than field goals by the Washington Commanders in this game in order to come away with a victory. Also, you already know we got to do what we do best, and that is controlling the clock. I believe we still lead the league in time of possession even after the bye week. So we are going to need to repeat the same type of time of possession control we had in the first matchup against the New York Giants earlier this season. So you got to win the time of possession, and you also got to win the turnover battle. I talked about how Daniel Jones ran all over us. I'm going to need the Washington Commanders to hold the New York Football Giants as a team under 100 yards rushing in order to win this game. Yes, we're coming with the big boys. Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams.
Yeah. He's a Giants. Let's go. Giants Nation is in the building. Let's go.
Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne.
Let's go.
You know, I'm going to need them. I'm going to need them to step up big in the run game this week. Also, I was jumping ahead to my next stop on the roadmap thinking about Leonard Williams if he comes back, because last game we allowed 5 sacks. We're going to need to allow less than 3 sacks in this game. Less than 3 sacks in this game. Then we got to get back and we got to get to Daniel Jones. We got to get some pressure on him. So we're going to need 4 or more sacks in this game in order to win. And finally, I didn't think I was ever going to have to talk about this the way the defense has been playing over the season, but it's come back to haunt me a little bit, especially against the New York Giants. There were a few plays there that kind of made you be like, that was the Washington Commanders weeks 1 through 4, 1 through 5 defense. I'm going to need 0 plays of 20 or more yards in this game from the Washington Commanders. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the Beards' roadmap to victory, presented to you unofficially by Waze GPS.
That's how that roadmap's going to end.
Well, come on!
That's how that roadmap's going to end. All right, well, let's talk about a couple of keys to victory for the New York Giants one time here, man. I think it's going to start with number 8, man, Daniel Jones. I've been asking for a big game for a couple of weeks here, and really haven't been quite getting that outside of that game manager shell type of game. Looked up some numbers today, man. These were pretty surprising to me. When trailing, Daniel Jones has the 6th most passing yards in the NFL right now. The only quarterbacks that are ahead of him are Brady, Matt Ryan, who's been trailing since all the way dating back to last season, Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, and Aaron Rodgers. The only other team over 500 is Justin Herbert and the Chargers. So, Daniel Jones, I'm going to need you to, one, not trail in this game, but if we do get down, I want this coaching staff to be a little bit more aggressive. The theme here is going to be how we throw the ball. We already know the Giants got to run the rock proper in this game if we want to even get close to winning this one. But 8 of Daniel Jones' 11 passing touchdowns have came in games while the New York Giants have been trailing. Daniel Jones right now is 30th in passing yards when the New York Giants are leading by 1 through 8 points. Now, what does that tell me? I almost want to fade the music out so we can hear this a little bit better, right? I always talk about the windows of opportunities for the quarterback. Most of those windows happen when you're up by 7. It's about putting the last few nails in the coffin and burying, throwing the dirt on it and throw the last flower in there and lower that coffin. And we have struggled to do that, and I think that is one of the number one reasons why. You cannot be 30th in passing yards when we're up by 1 to 8 points. You got to find a way to attack and be aggressive. So some of that goes on the coaches, some of that goes on the quarterback. Now, Jones was sacked 7 times in that Eagles game. I think it's extremely important going up against this Washington front to keep Daniel Jones upright. A lot of people have been talking about the double move that Isaiah Hodgins had last week, where we pretty much had a touchdown if Daniel Jones doesn't get sacked. He's wide open down the field. There were multiple times that James Bradbury was beat deep down the field, but the offensive line didn't hold up. And shout out to Brian Baldinger one time, who was chopping it up with me in my DMs about some content and stuff like that, man. Salute to him, because he was one of the main people that was breaking down some of these plays. But we know Washington, man, Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat. Sweat's got 7 sacks on the season. Jonathan Allen's got 7.5. Daron Payne leads the team with 8.5. You got to find a way to keep Daniel Jones upright. I don't want to see more. You talking about or more. I don't want to see 2 or more sacks against my quarterback in this game, for damn sure, okay? And Jonathan Allen, he has a career best right now, 15 tackles for a loss. So I just want to keep him out of the backfield in general. Now let's talk about Saquon Barkley a little bit. Saquon Barkley over the last 4 games has a combined 152 rushing yards. We got to get this fixed, okay? But I got big faith. Saquon is a big dog. He ain't no puppy getting ready to, come out of the baby kennel and stumble his way into some kibble. This is a big dog we talking about. You better fill it up with some big dog food, okay? Because Saquon Barkley about to eat in this game. Now, in his first 9 games this season, when the Giants were 7-2, Barkley averaged 103 yards per game. In the last 4 games, the Giants are 0-3-1, and Saquon Barkley is averaging 38 yards per carry. So listen, the theme of this is not going to continuously be Daniel Jones. But for those of y'all that have been saying, oh, Daniel Jones is the one who's leading us to these victories and all that, just miss me with that. Those stats right there show you everything you need to know. The Giants have not won a game in their last 4 games, and Saquon Barkley's averaging 38 yards per carry. Now, he was number 1 in second-half carries throughout most of the year. He's now dropped down to 4th. You got Miles Sanders now, who's the number 1 running back as far as second-half touches go. Josh Jacobs over there in Las Vegas and Nick Chubb are the top 3 right now. This one had me ready to lose my mind. Now, I've talked about how Brian Daboll has always tried to save gas in the tank with Saquon Barkley. You normally see the New York Giants try to establish a passing attack early in games, usually in the first quarter and then into the second quarter, first half type vibes. Usually we're passing the ball a little bit more than we would expect. And as a fan, I'm sitting there going, why are we really going to what works early? And the only excuse I could come up with is Brian Daboll trying to save gas for Saquon Barkley, which is why throughout the year he led, in second half touches. Saquon Barkley is 33rd in the NFL in first quarter rushing attempts. We're talking about one of the best running backs here in the entire league, and he's 33rd in first quarter rushing attempts. I'm looking for the Giants to come out and establish this run early. We need balance to start the game. Don't try to save gas for the second half with Saquon Barkley, and don't try to be over egregious trying to establish a passing attack with Daniel Jones and the rest of this wide receiver corps, especially with how this offensive line is. I think it's important to get Ben Bredeson back in this game. I don't know the word about him if he is going to play, but we've been having trouble on the interior line for the past 4 games. It's been a problem. So for me, that's the way to get Saquon Barkley going. You got to get this offensive line rocking. But I trust Saquon as well. He's a big dog. Give him the carries early on. Get him involved in the first quarter. And Saquon Barkley should be able to lead this New York Giants team to a victory. I've seen some big games from Saquon Barkley firsthand with both my eyes at FedEx Field. So I know Saquon can get it done. This whole, Saquon Barkley is, kind of like falling off a cliff towards the end of the season. I don't believe it. I think a lot of it has to do with circumstances, and a lot of it also has to do with the way that the games have been called the last couple of weeks. We got to get to that run early. I also think it's very important for Darius Slayton and Isaiah Hodgins to show up. They don't have to have huge games, but they need to just show up. You need to let this Washington secondary know that we can throw the ball deep. We need to establish that early with a big play. It's very important to get at least a 15, 20-yarder early in this game, first quarter, at least by the second quarter. The Giants have been putting up 7 points pretty much in the first half the entire season. We got to find a way to fix that. The only game I can think of that we were up at the half was the Dallas Cowboys game. We were up 13-7 on Thanksgiving, and we ended up getting completely just trounced in that third quarter, man, and it wasn't even a game coming into the fourth quarter. Giants got to find a way to put up some points early, and I think the way to do that is going to be through Darius Slayton and Isaiah Hodgins. Hodgins has a touchdown in both his last 2 games. Darius Slayton has over 85 yards in 3 of his last 5 games. He hasn't scored a touchdown, though, since week 10. Darius Slayton, I think a lot of people are overlooking the productivity that he has brought to this team this year. He's only played in 10 games, and he already has 608 yards. To me, that says if you would have been starting Darius Slayton throughout the entire year, you're probably looking at a 1,000-yard wide receiver here or somewhere near it. He's got 35 receptions on the season and just 2 touchdowns. Now, I also think this defense, I talked about this. We already know the glaring points have already been brought up when we did the Week 13 preview for these two teams. You got to stop number 17. I don't care what none of these other Giants content creators have told you. I don't care what none of these other Giants fans have told you. The goal here is you got to make sure you stop number 17. In the last game, he had 8 catches for 105 yards. And that was a game where our defense played y'all pretty decent.
Yeah.
Pretty decent in that game. But for him to come away in that game with 105 yards, I believe he had a touchdown in that game as well. And Curtis Samuel also had a touchdown in that game as well. Or no, it was Jahan Dotson on the little crosser route.
Dotson, yeah, the win.
I'll live with Jahan Dotson getting a couple of catches here and there. Try to limit him, keep him out the end zone. But Terry McLaurin is the number one guy. You got to stop number 17. That is the number one thing that the Giants defense has to figure out a way to do. I don't want Wink Martindale to go into this game and try to change his identity. Send the blitz. Send the house. Do what you do. Die on that shit, my guy. That's what you got to do. For me, I think it's going to be important for these edge rushers to get pressure on the quarterback. We talked about that a little earlier. I think it's super important for Azeez Ojulari to not fall off. We stay healthy, get to this quarterback. Kayvon Thibodeaux, it's another primetime game for you to show the world who you are. You had probably your best game of the season against the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Here's another primetime game against another NFC East rival. You're going to be going up against these two teams 2 times a year for the rest of your career probably, unless you fall off a cliff, which I doubt's going to happen. This guy has all of the skill set in the world to be a great pass rusher in this league. Go out here and prove it. It's all about big dog vibes in this game. Saquon Barkley, show me the x-rays, bro. The dog need to be in the rib cage. Kayvon Thibodeaux, I'm trying to see the x-rays. Big dog status going into this game against the Commanders. I'm going to be there. You can't go out here and put up a dud with authentic front row center watching this game. Go out here, handle business. I think that's what the New York Giants are going to do. I already guaranteed it on Twitter that the Giants are going to win this game. When I look at the last game, we left a lot out there. We didn't play nowhere near our best game. Neither did the Commanders, but they played a better game than us, and it still ended in a 20-20 tie with the New York Giants only putting up 21 total yards in the second half of regulation. We can play a better game than that. Daniel Jones really held his own in that game against Washington. He really kept us in it because the running attack from the New York Giants was relatively non-existent. Saquon going to show up in this game. It's big dog time, okay? And the New York Giants are going to win this game. And Taylor Heineke and that offense are going to be clawing late in the fourth quarter. I'm taking my New York Giants in this one to breach 24 points. The final score will be 27-20 New York Giants.
Okay, this is going to be funny. So it's going to be 20-20 at the end of regulation. We're going to go into overtime. Terry McLaurin eventually is going to take a slant and score. Washington wins 26-20.
All right. I like it. I'm glad you're confident.
I was going to say 27-20, but then I was like,
point won't go.
But then I was like, let me just push it into overtime. For those of you that don't know, we've been to what? One overtime game, I want to say, between the Giants and Washington in our tenure of going.
Yep. Yeah, the Giants came out with that victory
years.
too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. But we don't care about overtime over here.
Spike don't care.
We don't care about overtime over here. It's not going to overtime. 2 games overtime? You know they're going to be looking at them tie statistics. I saw that the last time a team played another team within 3 weeks and 2 ties happened, it was like 1950-something.
That's as we like to talk about. That's an anomaly.
Yeah.
Indeed. That's an anomaly.
Yeah, and I see the chat. I see a lot of G-men. We got a lot of G-men in here, though, too. We got a lot of G-men in here, but
guys.
30-16 for Washington. I see Tim Underwood in the building. Shout out Tim Underwood one time. What else we got? How about them boys says 24-16 Giants?
Kevin the PRF says 27-17.
He would say that. And you would highlight it. I like that.
Pinjo Thrift says Giants win by 14, 27-13. Carl Says 30-27. When was the last
like
time
that.
the New York Giants scored 30 points?
It's been about
Oh.
40 games.
1923.
Oh, it was the last time 2 ties happened. Yeah. In the time span of 3 weeks. Yeah.
TC915 says 27-23 New York Giants. Gareth, 24-23 New York Giants. Oh,
All
here
right.
we go.
We got a bunch of good ones. Shout out Chris Peace one time, 24-20. 7-5-2 incoming
7-5-2.
for both of y'all. Word. I saw Kai ask what jersey I'm rocking. I only really rock one jersey, and it's Eli Manning. That's it.
I'll probably be rocking the Cooley jersey.
Chris Cooley. You would rock a Chris Cooley jersey. Y'all gonna take that L. I'm confident. I ain't even tripping.
I know you're. I mean, listen, we should both be confident. We're going into war, man. When you come down that ring and you hear they playing your song, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You ready?
I think I know what you're saying. I think
You
I
know
think
what
I
I'm
know what you're
saying.
saying.
You know,
Y'all
like
gonna
when
have
you
your left hand up in this one?
Nah, left hand ain't gonna be up. Left hand gonna be crossing across the chin.
I got you. Well, let's get to this trivia section, man. We got about 15 minutes before we got to get them up out of here one time. What are we giving away today, man? Let me get these jazz flutes queued up one time, and you can show what we're going to be giving away.
I don't know. So if you're a New York Giants fan and you win, should we do Azeez Ojulari or Leonard Williams? I think we should do Ojulari.
I'll let you pick. I'll let you pick, bro.
How about an Azeez Ojulari rookie card, silver mosaic, silver prism rookie card mosaic Azeez. So that's a really nice one right there.
I
just pulled this out the box yesterday. I said, you know what? I gotta pull out some. I've been pulling out Giants cards for all of you Giants fans. So we're getting ready to do massive amounts of giveaway here at Authentic and the Beard.
That's what's up, man. I'm digging that, man. And I know the chat and the family in the chat are definitely digging that, man. We've been giving away prizes every Thursday for the whole entire season, man. So this is going to be our 15th straight prize we give away. It's going to be an Azeez Ojulari rookie card. Shout out to Over the Years Sports and the Beard for sponsoring this section, man, of trivia time with Authentic and the Beard. Hope y'all got y'all thinking caps on, your Google fingers ready. This will be a tough. This probably wouldn't be a tough Google. I'll give y'all a little hint there. You can maybe keep your extra tab open and maybe get this one probably pretty quickly. All right, I hope y'all are ready. The Beard, you know the answer and everything, right?
Yes, I do.
Shout out to Brian one time before we jump into this section.
For the $4.99 super chat says 24-20 New York Giants. Is there a bet between y'all? What will the Beard have to do when he loses?
Oh, nah, it's all good. You know, no stakes. You know, the stakes is high, but there's no kind of stakes like that on the line here. He's gonna have to deal with me if they lose that game on the next episode of Authentic and the Beard when we do the NFC East recap for Week 15 on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Big
And
shout
he's gonna
out
have to set up my stream for the Giant Overreaction on Monday. It's gonna be. I might even invite him on the show. So I think that's enough, Brian. I think that's enough.
Also, a big shout out to Stephen Lilly for the £2 super chat. Said Beard is giving away a big fat L on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm giving away an L to you guys. You guys are going to take the L.
We shall see. All right, I think y'all have had enough time to be able to get your mind right one time. Today's trivia question is, this running back holds the New York Giants single-season record for most rushing touchdowns. We'll keep our eyes on the chat. Beard, give them the rules one more time so they know what's going on.
Just so everybody knows, it is the first person that we see on our end. It may look different than what you see on your end due to different internet lags. So in order for us to be fair, we have to go by who we see in the chat first on our end. We still have a couple of winners that have not sent us their information either.
Oh, yeah, we definitely need to get that. I forgot who that was.
Mike K and Giants Mafia. I see a winner.
Oh, yeah. Confirm with me in the private chat real quick.
Will do. Beat Trop.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. Okay, so today's answer for today's trivia question, this running back holds the New York Giants single-season record for most rushing touchdowns, is the OG. In 1985, Joe Morris rushed for a Giants record 21 touchdowns. I saw a lot of y'all say Brandon Jacobs. That was really good too, man. Brandon Jacobs is second all-time for the New York Giants with 15 touchdowns. Otis Anderson, Rodney Hampton, and Joe Morris himself are tied for third with 14 touchdowns. Joe Morris rushed for 1,336 yards. He was averaging 4.5 yards per carry, and he had his longest run of that year was 65 yards. He had 294 attempts that season where he rushed for 21 touchdowns in 1985. And today's winner is Mr. Tim Underwood himself. Can we get an applause, Mr. Beard? Can we get an applause?
Yes, we can.
Shout out to Mr. Tim Underwood. Tim, reach out to us on either Twitter. You can check us out at @Authentic or @TimWalkOnWater2. Or you can send an email directly to authentic@allornothingstudios.com, and we'll get that shipped out to you as soon as possible. If you could include a screenshot of your YouTube homepage just so we know that it is you. And again, congratulations, man. Salute to you for winning that Azeez Ojulari rookie card. That's one I might have wanted to keep my hands on, man. But big shout out to Tim Underwood, and big shout out to everybody in the chat, all the family for submitting y'all answers and whatnot. I see James Funk came in late with the Dave Meggett vibes one time. Big shout out to Dave Meggett, great punt returner and running back for the New York Giants. More of a kick returner, actually, man. I remember those years when him and Brian Mitchell were just going at it in the NFC East, man. Those were some good years, some of my favorite football years, man. Definitely take me back to my childhood one time. So big shout out to y'all. I see Marjorie's in the building too one time. Shout out to Marjorie in the building. All right, we got one more game we got to go over one time here, man. This one is going to be the San Francisco 49ers are taking on the Seattle Seahawks here on Thursday Night Football. Kickoff's going to be in about a good 5 minutes here, so let's get to it. All right, man, the 9-4 San Francisco 49ers headed to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. They're sitting at 7-6 right now. Kickoff is at 8:15 on Amazon Prime. Big shout out to Amazon Prime one time, man. I love those performances that they do after the show. You kind of got to refresh your Amazon Prime to see the performance. I guess they didn't want to directly tag it to the NFL. But shout out to A$AP Rocky last week, man. He bodied that set, man. And it ain't like no just short BS type of, 10 minutes. It's like an hour-long performance, shot well. They put a crowd out there. Very dope, man. Last week, the 49ers beat the brakes off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 35-7. Seattle lost to the Panthers 30-24 in a close game, man, that we really needed the Seattle Seahawks to lose. Seahawks lead this series 30-18. I thought that was kind of interesting here too, man. Seattle has won 5 of the past 7 in this series, but they were beat 27-7 by the 49ers earlier this season. The 49ers have just one victory in Seattle in the past decade. I thought the 49ers would dominate the Seahawks here. Some of these numbers were so surprising. That win came in 2019. It was at the end of the regular season. The 49ers have won 6 straight games for the first time since 2019 when they started off 8-0. I do remember that season very well. And San Francisco is 5-0 right now in the NFC West. Big question here is, can Seattle find the end zone against the best scoring defense in the league? The 49ers defense is extremely legit. They lead the NFL right now with 12 takeaways in their past 6 games. San Francisco has allowed 17 points or fewer in 6 straight games. It's the first time in a season since 1992. Defensive end Nick Bosa is tied for the NFL lead with 14.5 sacks, and he needs half a sack to become just the 5th player to get to 15 sacks twice in his first 4 seasons. But the 49ers had their 39-game streak with at least 1 sack come to an end last week. I thought that was pretty crazy, man. 39 straight games, and you had a sack in all those games comes to an end last week. They did, beat the brakes off the Buccaneers still. A lot of that was because of quarterback Brock Purdy. He was 16-21 last week, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He had 1 rushing touchdown. He had a passer rating of 134 in his first career start, becoming the first rookie in the Super Bowl era with at least 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and a passer rating of above 125 in his first career start. So Brock Purdy is in the history, in the record books right now. Mr. Irrelevant himself is looking kind of relevant one time. He was dealing with some injuries coming into this week, some rib oblique injuries, but he is expected to play. I think that the Seattle Seahawks, if they want a shot in this game, they're going to have to stop CMC on the ground. Christian McCaffrey totaled 153 yards from scrimmage last week with a touchdown run and a touchdown catch. He's got 11 games with both a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. That's tied for 4th most in NFL history. And this Seahawks rush defense has been really bad. This game was really intriguing to me. I put down like a whole damn book report on this game. Normally, I would just give y'all a couple little nuggets here, but Seattle's given up 160.5 rushing yards per game and has allowed 2 of the past 3 opponents to rush for more than 200 yards on them. The Seahawks have allowed 3 teams to top 200 rushing yards this season. They've allowed that 8 times in the previous 10 seasons. A couple of injuries coming into this game that make me feel a little bit better about the Seattle Seahawks' chances. Deebo Samuel, we know, is out with the knee and the ankle. And I got to say, thank God to the football gods one time, because that looked like a really bad injury.
Yeah.
Thought he was going to be out for the year. It seems he's going to be out for about 3 to 4 weeks. That's going to be really good for them. They're also going to be without D tackle Hassan Ridgeway. He's got a pectoral injury. D tackle Kevin Givens. Cornerback Samuel Womack is in a concussion protocol. And safety Tarvarius Moore has a knee injury as well. For the Seattle Seahawks, Kenneth Walker III looks like he's expected to play in this one, coming back off the ankle injury. And it's likely we're not going to see DJ Dallas in this one, who really has been more of a kick returner for them. Geno Smith, though, he's got to bounce back in this game, man. I think Geno Smith is going to be important for the Seattle Seahawks if they want a chance at victory here. He's thrown at least 2 touchdown passes in 7 straight games. You know, I always talk about the multiple touchdown passes in back-to-back games. I don't think we can just credit Geno Smith's success to the weapons over there. I mean, we saw Russell Wilson, who I know a lot of people look at him this year and they think, you know, he's falling off a cliff, but I don't think Russell Wilson's just going to take a nosedive into mediocrity for the rest of his career here. But he was struggling with that offense last year, and you got Geno Smith going out there, man, with 6 straight games, 7 straight games with multiple touchdowns. That's the longest active streak in the NFL right now. So I'm looking for him to keep that going.
He leads the league in the NFL in completion percentage too, right? Isn't it like 71% completion percentage or something like that?
Let me see. I know going into last week, he had the lead for completion percentage, but he had his lowest completion rate last week, 58.3. And he had his second lowest passer rating, which is really interesting to me. It wasn't even that low, 85.9 in last week's loss as well. The Seahawks, they have not had a running back rush for more than 37 yards in any of the past 4 games. So they definitely missed Kenneth Walker. And I think he was out for like 2 games maybe. So even when he was there,
he got hurt. He got hurt like in the beginning, I think, of one of those games, and then was out for 2 games. Yeah. And
right. So dating back to that 4th game, he wasn't helping them that much.
And San Francisco's only giving up like, I want to say, under 80 yards a game on the ground, like something really insane. So it's going to be tough for Kenneth Walker III. But I need him. I need him for my fantasy. This is the fantasy football playoffs start tonight. So don't forget, we're live at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday for the parlay to help you guys get your first fantasy football wins in the playoff.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. And you know, when I said that about Geno Smith's weapons, I don't say that to slight his weapons, because his weapons they're definitely lethal for sure, man. DK Metcalf right now, he just needs 31 yards receiving to become the 5th player since 1970 with at least 900 yards receiving and 5 touchdown catches in the first 4 seasons of his career. And Tyler Lockett also has a record on the line here. Tyler Lockett has a touchdown catch in a franchise record 6 straight games. Last player with a touchdown catch in 7 straight games. You want to take a guess? He's an active player right now.
DeAndre Hopkins?
Pretty close. Devontae Adams. He did it in 2020 with the Green Bay Packers. So I think we're going to see a lot of Geno, man. A lot of Geno throws here. He's got to be a lot more accurate in this game here if the Seattle Seahawks want a chance. It's weird. I don't really want to pick the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
I just think they're going to win. So I'm going to pick the Seattle Seahawks. I think that the Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers come back down to earth here a little bit. I think we got a little bit of tape on the kid. He's kind of mobile. He can kind of run a little bit, buy some time, kind of looking like Taylor Heineke out there. I think the Seahawks are going to be well prepared for this one. Give me the Seahawks in a pretty close game. I'd say relatively low scoring. I'm going to go 24. I'm going to go 24-17. No Deebo Samuel, 24-17 Seahawks.
It's going to be interesting to see how Purdy, like it was all rays and sunshine when your defense basically is giving you a layup and you're, way up on the scoreboard at home, as opposed to your second game going to Seattle, who has one of the best home field advantages in all of football and all of sports with the 12th man. So in a primetime game on a short week, injury. So, I mean, I totally, you've thrown me a lot of information to kind of push me into the direction of
try,
Seattle.
man. I try to put a lot of research into these shows, man. I try to bring a good 20-piece nugget, especially on Giants Washington Commanders rivalry game here coming up. I try to do my due diligence here, man, and bring the Nuggets to the table, bring them to the party.
But all of that being said,
You're taking the 49ers, I know.
I'm taking the 49ers. You know,
know.
I
Oh,
think this is going to be a really big CMC game. I think CMC gets close to 200 total yards and another 2-touchdown game. I'm going to take the 49ers to win 20-13.
Pretty low scoring game. That's what's up. It's about 8:15. Kickoff is probably happening right now. We definitely appreciate all of y'all rocking with us for this Week 15 preview edition of the NFC East. Giants headed down 95, man, to come down to FedEx to take on those Commanders. This is going to be a great week. We're still trying to figure out what we're going to do as far as content during the game, but I would look forward to seeing us on Sunday for the parlay early in the morning before we head out and get to our tailgate. It's going to be a party at FedEx Field. I love the tailgates over there. I have a great time over there. I see a lot of Giants fans like to shit on FedEx Field a lot, the pun intended, some with the loose pipes or something like that. You know, feces dropping on people and whatnot, you know, or fecal matter, if I correct myself. But it's going to be a good one, man. I'm looking forward to it. And if anybody wants to pull up on us, we'll be in green lot E40. Shout out to Sprinkle Me from the West Coast one time, one of the GOATs in this rap game. But y'all know what it is over here at Authentic and the Beer, man. We're going to end this show the same way we end every show, man. Keep living those dreams. Keep raising that bar. Go ahead.
Tudo, we gotta say some shout out. You gotta say a shout out to Tudo. Tudo's in the building.
Big shout out to Tudo.
$4.99 super chat. Massive salute to Thanks Authentic and Beards, Duo Kings, Nuggets and Roadmaps, and for all Giants fans, slap all stinky boys, losers out of dough. Forget about it. Salute Italy. And good luck in your match this weekend. I think you're playing on Saturday, so good luck, Tudo, in your match this weekend, sir.
Tudo's going to be playing on Sunday, too. He's going to be dressed up for the New York Giants at FedEx Field. Big shout out to Tudo one time. We appreciate you, brother. You already know we couldn't do stuff like this with the content that we do without the support from people like you and the rest of the fam in the chat. Big shout out to y'all. We rewind that one more time. Y'all know what it is. Keep living y'all dreams. Keep raising that bar because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT, Combat Jack one time. We'll see y'all on Sunday. And after we see y'all on Sunday, I'll see y'all on Monday after the New York Giants take care of business at FedEx Field, man. Y'all be good. We will see y'all. Enjoy y'all Thursday night football.
Peace.
Peace.